Hi guys, welcome back. This is another episode of the world-renowned Power of All Radio. I'm here with my special guest, Dan from Dan Detects Treasure, DDT, you know. So we're here. We're going to talk a little bit about collecting treasures. We're going to be looking through coins, finding some cool stuff around in your area, and to just get the kids, get out, get involved, and do some exploring, find your adventures. So how you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing good. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yes, guys. Today is my 35th birthday. Pretty excited. I am now 30 years from Super Senior Tuesdays. I am also 30 years from a lifelong fishing license. Yes. So, stuff's looking up. Stuff's getting good.
I think the best way to start off the new year is to start on a new, avenue. So this podcast, starting it off, I think is a great way to welcome in a new year. Gives you something to look forward to the new year, and I think it's an awesome thing to celebrate with, is a new possibility and a new road in your path. So that's awesome, and thank you for having me on. I know I'm not technically the first guest, but I'm the first guest.
Yeah, I'll definitely put this as a first. Dan and I, that's my younger brother, and he's recently started this YouTube channel. I suggest all you guys check it out. It's Dan Detects Treasure. It's right on YouTube. It's really great. Sometimes he'll have his wife as a guest. They do these really cute couple challenges. They'll go through quarters, dimes, $50, just pocket change, and they really make an adventure out of it. He gives you some information so you know what you're looking for, and a little bit of background, with the currency, and just to know what to look for, why you're looking for it, and how to do your best at it, and learn. Great. This is a great thing for families to do together. Get the kids involved. It's a great bonding experience. How did you get into it? I mean, our grandfather did this, but why don't you tell everybody how you found out that this was like the hobby for you?
So obviously our grandfather was a coin collector, but it mainly came from our dad. He was a coin collector as well as just, I grew up, I was born in 94, I'm 25, so you grow up watching on those shows where it was like Josh Gates, Adventures, what is this, Destination Unknown,
Yeah.
Or like all those treasure hunting shows and all that stuff, and I was immediately, as a kid, every kid probably wants to be an archaeologist. You look up Egyptology when you're in 6th grade, and it all comes from that path of well, what if I did that when I got older as a hobby?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And really, there's so much different treasure, and treasure is different to every person. And that's the point of my channel and why I wanted to start it is, yeah, we're going to metal detect. Yeah, we're going to go through coins. Yeah, I'm going to find diamonds. Yeah, I'm going to do crazy, cool, adventurous things. But treasure is specific to the person, and it's so many interpretations, and I want to experience what different treasures are for different people.
I'm glad that you said that too, because right now with all of this corona stuff and all this stuff that's going on right now, it's really important for parents to find ways to connect with their kids, and even us as siblings. That's a way that we connect too. Dan's got his page. I keep up with it. And myself, I'm learning too. There's plenty of things that I don't know, but he's exactly right. Sometimes you may just find paper clips or old fishing hooks, but the treasure is in spending that time to go together, to treasure hunt, and to make an adventure for you and your family, and to learn to enjoy the outdoors. And there's treasure all around us if we give it a chance.
And it, treasure, a lot of people are, oh, you're going to get rich. I've gotten some criticism. So I started my channel in February. We're at 72 subscribers. We're almost at 4,000 views as of this moment. So we've had some success right off the bat, which is good. Because, it's only a couple months old. But everybody, oh, you think you're going to get rich, you're going to find a treasure. It's really, to me, not about that. To me, it's about me and my wife, or me and my dog, me and my dad, me and whoever I take on these adventures. I take anybody that wants to try to learn. They text me, and I'll take them out there. There's videos of me training people that have never even picked up a metal detector and them having the times of their lives. It's really about spending the time outside, learning about something new, looking for something, and it's the thrill of the chase rather than the overall payoff. Yeah, it's nice. Recently, I started panning for gold, and I've been finding gold a lot. And that's really nice because you get to see tangible, wow, this is real treasure. But at the same time, I've did a bunch of research recently on a local island we have where a pirate, Captain Kidd, most of you may have heard of, might have hidden a treasure on it. And I went out to this island, explored it. I'd only ever been out there once before, and unfortunately I didn't find anything. But one of the beautiful things about it was it's a bird sanctuary. So yeah, I didn't find anything worth value. I found some cool stuff, but nothing worth like a treasure. But you're on this place that you would have not been otherwise, exploring it, getting to experience that, and just taking in nature's beauty. And that's something that I try to promote in the channel. And I don't want to be like those shows that are on TV, like, I love Curse of Oak Island, yeah, they find some cool stuff, but they're not finding treasure. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to find stuff. Like, I make sure to do everything in my power to find something. But at the same time, it's more than that. Mm-hmm. And it comes back to this idea of, yeah, there's a pandemic going on, and that kind of gave me more time. I was let go of my job, and that's understandable because of everything going on. I didn't expect to stay on, but it gave me more time to just take a chance on this. I was in a financial situation where I could say, hey, you know what? These next couple months, I'm going to follow a passion I've always had. And what's cool is that journey itself to the end is what I'm on. And that's why I'm not just, when you see a lot of YouTube channels, you see it where it's just like, in my avenue, it's coin roll openings only, or metal detecting only, or gem hunting only, or diving only. I am interested in all of that. So I wanted to try to do all of that in a channel. So literally 1 week we'll focus on just panning for gold or gold mining and have success finding gold. And then I'll say, you know what, now I'm going to work on underwater metal detecting. And the next week it's underwater metal detecting, or hey, we're going to go fossil hunting in New Jersey. So that'll be the next time.
You know, something you said that really stuck out to me is when you said you were reading up on the pirate in the local area. That's one of the great things, too, that I've heard when you and Dad go, you know, it's about understanding the history of your area, of our country, and know what was here. I think you had done an episode that I saw, and it was kind of a field, and the stuff that you guys are collecting, you're wondering, hey, I wonder what was here. And you're able to then look back and say, okay, in this area, this was X, Y, or Z. And maybe that's why we're finding this kind of stuff. And it just helps you to look at the area that you're living in, or wherever, where you're exploring, where you're metal detecting, wherever your adventure takes you. It gives you another perspective on that area. It's not just a field. It's not just a park. It's living history, and it's an actual adventure. It's a treasure hunt. And I think people don't look at, when you hear collecting, we all think of like an old guy with one of those loops and all that. We don't know that there's young people. This is a new movement. Families are getting back. People are enjoying time together as families, and this is an awesome way to do that. And I think that's why people are gravitating towards your YouTube and your website, because people are interested in doing things that are simple, are inexpensive, are geared towards their families, and that help them learn something. You know, I think it's great.
Well, what's cool, I know you're mentioning like that one episode was actually a great episode. We had went to, it was just a normal park, like with a playground, basketball court, and it had this green area, and it's just there. No one ever goes there. It's overgrown. So I had the idea, let's go metal detecting, because I don't think anybody else has ever done that. And I've been taking an approach to metal detecting that I haven't seen before. A lot of metal detectors, they're just swinging their detectors. Yeah, they're doing a lot of research, don't get me wrong. They're doing a lot of door knocking. They're going out there. I like to take a look at it from like an archaeological aspect of it, because that's what I was interested in. So going on at that route, I will map out an area based on finds to try to figure out what was there before, and I talk about that. So we go to this park that was just an empty green area, and we start to find things, and sooner or later I discover some pieces of horse tack, and I keep pulling out pieces of this horse tack material, so I could tell that there was horses there. Then I start to just hit this hoard of old money, wheatback pennies from 1928 all the way through 1958, which is the last year of the wheatback penny. Then Dad finds a silver dime from 1952. So 90% silver dime, all in that one area.
Now let me stop you there, because I think this is something that a lot of people don't know. Is explain to us about with the year and the silver. I know they have different
compositions.
Different compositions of alloys or whatever. Would you mind just talking about that for a second, so people understand why is it the 1960s or before? Why the wheatbacks, when did that change over, or do you have any information about that?
Okay, so one of the foundations of getting into coin collecting, and I'm a coin collector at 25, and really quick, just touching back, it is a new movement. There's a lot of younger people getting into it because it's a physical manifestation of your wealth. And the reason people are doing that is, yeah, they're losing a grandparent right now, unfortunately, or a grandmother, but they're inheriting coins, and they're realizing, wow, this is worth money still. So I have a friend recently who got sparked back into coin collecting from the channel, compounding with grandfather dying, and he inherited all these coins, and now he loves collecting coins. It's a movement catching on. But going to that, one of the foundations of coin collecting, and just, it's called the stacking community when people collect silver. So it's another community that look for this, but they stack silver, it's what it's called. But it's a way, a lot of people are uncomfortable with the stock market now, especially after 2008 and now everything going on. So they move their wealth into precious metals. And precious metals is a commodity, but it's also just a physical manifestation of your wealth. So the price is going to go up and down, but it's something you can hold on to. You own this, and it's an investment over time. In 1964, that was the last year that the quarter and the dime were made out of 90% silver.
Now, can I ask you a question? What was going on then that they needed to do that?
To stop it?
Yeah, that they changed the composition.
So you're looking at Vietnam War era,
Okay.
and there was a major silver shortage in the world.
Oh, wow.
So it was costing a lot of money to produce these coins, so we decided to get away from that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get into why it's unfortunate, but we'll talk about the history first. So 1964 was the last year, and then we switched to quarters, so it's copper with a very, very, very thin plated layer of silver now.
Well, that's interesting because as a novice or somebody that's not familiar with this, I had no idea there was copper in it because it looked silver. I mean, I guess we've all seen that band on the side, but I didn't think too much of it. I kind of, most of us just think, it's
shiny.
It's a quarter. Keep it moving.
But what's crazy is, so they did this, they switch over to this copper band, and now it's just it's an alloy. So it's a material that's not, back in the day, and you can see the shift as well as when people were getting their paychecks, if you ever noticed, the pay was much lower back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like $1,000 would go as be like equal to $10,000.
Yes, yeah.
That plays in part to that because they were getting paid in a precious metal. You're getting paid in silver. If you made, I made $1 today. Well, $1 today doesn't sound like a lot, but at 90% silver, that is more than just $1.
Oh yeah, because kind of like how they say back by gold, like back by silver.
That's the gold standard, which that's a whole other can of worms we can get into after that. But yes, that's essentially that. But yeah, so you had silver dimes and silver quarters, and they're still partially in circulation, but you got to look in your change, and that's one of the reasons I actually started. That was the first place I started, was by looking at my change and trying to see if I could find any kind of silver, just to see anything 1964 and less. So if you're going to look at current prices of silver's in a bull market right now because of everything going on in the world.
What does that mean?
A bull market is like anything like with the stock market, it's on the rise. Like we had a bull market with the stock market till the stock market fell off when the pandemic happened. Mm-hmm. It was a bull market because you would make, silver and gold are now in that state because when everything goes and hits the fan, when everything's bad, silver and gold always do well as like food stocks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So you can look at it in 2008. Silver was at $50 an ounce. Now it's at $20 an ounce. But originally it was at $11 an ounce. So since the pandemic started at $11 an ounce, it's gone all the way back up to $20 an ounce. That's a $9 increase in 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
So every silver that I purchased or obtained at $11 an ounce, I made $9 on that 1 ounce investment.
So literally right now, people have in their pockets and in their homes a growing investment and have no idea that it's even there.
They take that 10 cents and they think it's worth 10 cents. A 10-cent silver piece, a dime that's 90% silver, is anywhere between $2 to $4 right now.
Holy moly.
A quarter that's 90% silver, 1964 and less, is worth anywhere between $4 and $8.
Wow, guys. I had no idea that there was that much value just lurking around. I mean, all of us have passed some silver change on the ground and don't think anything of it and keep it moving to our cars and leave not knowing that could have been, that could have given back the money you had just spent in the store on that you had just left. It's completely out of our minds when we don't know about it. It's like out of sight, out of mind. You don't think of it. You have no idea what to look for. This is really valuable. I hope all you guys are listening because this is this is a great thing to pay attention to from now on. You guys got to look through, and you got to check out the channel so you know what to look through, to look for. I know that I've heard you and Dad both mention things like double dies, error coins, and I think a lot of people don't even know those exist. And that's ones that even could be new coins. So don't just put those away and never look at them again. Those have a possibility of having some value too. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about that?
So I'm not the most well versed on error coins. I do know a little bit. So basically, like a double die or a double die reverse. So on your coin, you have to think when they're making coins, it's a planchet. It's like a round piece of that metal or alloy that they're putting it out of, and then it gets stamped down with an impression of whatever they're stamping, and then that releases an image onto that planchet. Well, sometimes that planchet has a habit of moving, or it gets double stamped really quick, and you'll see an image and it looks like it's been stamped twice, which is a double die. There's different things that can happen. A really easy modern error that's very popular to collect. I found one of these in a video, and you have to think it's 25 cents. That's what it's worth. It's a 25-cent modern quarter. It's the Kansas 2005 state quarter. Well, they had an error at the Philadelphia Mint where the actual die itself filled up with grease, where it would say "In God We Trust." So instead of "In God We Trust," it said "In God We Rust." The T was gone, and that is an error. So that 25-cent coin is now worth anywhere between $2 to $6 because there was a lot of. You could see in a video that I actually shot. I find one and then I flip it on eBay for $6, and it was face value. So I spent 25 cents to get a quarter, normal quarter, and then sold it for $6 because it was worth more than just the 25-cent face value. Another way, like I was thinking, is my sister was saying that you guys should pay attention to this and get into it and like think of all the silver change you pass up. If you really wanted to get into this and just keep a little bit of awareness, check for the 1964 and less. And the number one thing to do is every time you go to a grocery store, all you do is look at the Coinstar machine. The Coinstar machine where everybody turns in their change and they get it exchanged for a gift card or cash or whatnot. That machine is one of the easiest ways to find silver because the weight of a silver dime or quarter does not get processed in the coin. So the little hopper where you get the return change, that's because it's actually made out of silver. And a lot of people don't realize this. So when you go to that machine and you're like, oh, why want to take this money? Why want to take this money? 9 times out of 10, if it's a dime or a quarter, it's because it's actually silver. So people leave it in that little hopper. I can name on multiple hands times just walking into the store, well, let me just check this really quick, not even thinking, looking by, oh, there's a silver dime, there's a silver quarter, I made $8 laying right there.
Wow.
Nobody owns it, they left it for somebody else. So that's one easy way to just get into it. That's the coin collecting aspect, and especially if you have kids, what's cool about it is it's an investment in their future. If you're not going to get at the level where some of these people are not, I'm not at the level where I'm buying hundreds of ounces of silver or have like that availability to do so to me, but I'm at the level where I'm creating a coin collection, I'm selling and buying coins, making money on it, letting the hobby pay for itself. But one day when I have kids and I pass it on to them, you have to think that the coins today, a coin that's made in 2020, is going to be worth something incredibly different in the year 2120. It's going to be 100 years old. Age automatically adds value, and then you go from there. Scarcity, all these different things. The coins I'm watching right now, there's a 2020 National Park coin. I can't think of the national park, but it has 2 bats on it. And what I think is hilarious is the coronavirus hits, they're blaming it on bats, and we have a state, or not a state quarter, but a national parks quarter that's coming out that has a bat on it. That is going to be worth something in 100 years when they're teaching, oh, there was this pandemic in American history, and then you have a quarter with the creature that caused it from the year that the pandemic came out.
Oh, man.
That's automatically going to up the value on that.
Yeah, it sure is.
So it's modern change right now. You could spend it as 25 cents because there's a lot of them. But I would stick aside 5 or 6 of them, stick it in a drawer, put, hey, this was collected in the pandemic of 2020, put it in a little envelope and stick it in a box. And then when your kids are 30, here you go. Here's for their grandchildren, and just hand them out like that. That's how you create an heirloom, and that's how they find something of value that you didn't even realize now was worth something.
You see that, guys? That is one thing that you can take away from today. Even if you find yourself not looking through your change, which I definitely recommend you start to do. But if not, just keep your eyes open for that 2020 National Park waters with the bats on it. Hey, you don't want to keep it, you send it over to Dan Detects Treasure. Otherwise, put it away for the kids, and 100 years, 50 years, 100 years, it's really going to mean something to somebody else. And in general, your kids are going to grow up. They're going to remember that time with you, those moments spent. They're going to remember you guys, kneeling over a hole, digging out the treasure together, and that feeling of excitement that you're able to share in those moments. You pack a lunch, bring a blanket, sit down, and just make an event out of it with your kids. It is treasure hunting, and you have to keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, you're going to find little bits and pieces here and there that have no no value, but you still act like it's a big deal to the kids because it makes it a special time to share with you. This has definitely been so informative to me. I'm going to find myself going through my container. We all have that jug or coffee can or whatever it is that we put all our change in there, haven't looked at it in the past 3 or 4 years, never going to roll it up. Let's be honest. How many of you guys have ever rolled up coins? Oh, you know what? Actually, that makes me think of something great too. Why don't you let them know a little bit? I've seen in the past that you guys go and you request with your bank and you buy, what is it, like $100 or so of
So
dime?
it depends on the coin that you're hunting. Real quick, just correcting myself, the national park coin for 2020 is America Samoa, and that has the 2 bats on it. So keep an eye out for that one, because honestly, keep like 6 or 10 of them in a draw. When you have grandchildren or have your kids get older, give them that. That will instantly be worth something. Like, it's going to be worth something.
You know what's funny is I had a friend once, and every family event, she had this one great uncle. And every time you came across this guy, he'd say, "What year were you born?" And I still have the 1985 quarter. No. It was a 1985 half dollar, the Kennedy half dollar. And I don't know where he kept them. This man was like a magician, pulling coins out of who knows where. And every person's year of birth, he would give them the coin. I mean, this was like a 60th birthday party. He must have had a whole bag of change in his car. But it was one of those things, too, that you remember him. I mean, think about it. This is 10, 15 years. I'm no longer friends with this person or anything. But her uncle sticks out in my mind because he was the coin guy.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting. What you were talking about with the bank is it's different denominations. For pennies, it's $25. For nickels, it's $100. For dimes, it's $250. For quarters, it's $500. For half dollars, it's $500. And what it is 50 rolls of those coins in that denomination that comes in a box. So I do something called coin roll hunting, where I'll go to the bank and say, I want $1,500 in quarters. I want $1,000 in dimes. It sounds ridiculous, and that you have to build a relationship. Like, it took months of buttering them up with boxes of donuts and going in and like little transactions, describing what I'm going to be doing, and then building that relationship to allow them to do it. You just walk into the bank, hey, let me get $1,000 in quarters, and they'll have it on hand for me. The reason I started doing this was, A, it's addicting to watch. I follow a guy that does it. Awesome. I'll recommend his treasure or hunting show any day. All he does is that. Rob Vine's treasure, similar to my name, but I do more metal detecting than he does at all. But he goes and he'll look up like $2,000 in pennies or $2,000 in quarters and look at them. Now, I recently got into coin collecting. I'm only into coin collecting probably about 2 years. Yes, I grew up with it. We both did. But it took me getting older and realizing the value in it to actually get into it. And what happened when I got into it, fortunately, was the Mint was trying to launch interest in coin collecting again. So they did something called the Great American Coin Hunt. And they asked people that were members of the coin collecting societies to just take their precious coins that they didn't want anymore, didn't need, or just take a certain amount and just put them back into circulation. And because of that, you find more stuff right now. But I can find like silver dimes more easily, silver quarters, a lot of wheatback pennies, a lot of different foreign coins, a lot of different things because of that. Buffalo head nickels, stuff like that. And really, my channel was started by me. I was coin roll hunting a box of nickels. It was February, and it was the best box of nickels I could ever coin roll hunted. So in World War II, we didn't have enough nickel to make nickels because they were actually made out of nickels back then. So they did something called a wartime nickel. It was nickel, but it was 35% silver because they had a bunch of silver at the time. So that was when nickels ended up being made out of silver. So I end up finding 2 silver nickels in this box, and then I find a buffalo head nickel, and then I find something even cooler. I found a V nickel from the 1890s. And a V nickel is a nickel design that was in the 1890s and earlier, and it has a big V for victory on the back, a lady on the front. So it's once in a lifetime finds all in this box, but that V nickel was on the end of one of the rolls, so I was like, I have to film this. And it just turned out to be one of the craziest. It was so lucky, and I didn't expect it, but I had to capture it on camera, and because I captured it on camera, it launched my channel. That's my most viewed video. It's terrible because I didn't have camera mounts. I was shaking because I get very excited, and I think that's why one of the reasons people like my videos is I'm passionate about it. I get excited, whether I'm metal detecting, whether I'm coin roll hunting, whether I'm doing anything, is I'll shake with excitement. I'll get excited. You could hear it in my voice. And that video is so shaky because I keep finding really cool things that people like are drawn to that. But that's something that I do. And what I'll do is I'll go through all the coins, I'll record it, either do like a time lapse of it or just bring you in different finds. But you end up growing your collection without having to spend any money. Because at the end of the day, I replace the coins that are worth something with the 25-cent quarter that I just got today that's not worth anything. And then I just deposit it right back in my bank account.
You know what? I think that that's something that is a great takeaway from this, is that it helps you to see the value, and in your case, purpose of passion is great. But something I love that Dan does when he's going through these videos is he'll start with this box of coins, and he'll go step by step in showing you, okay, first they look at the ends of the rolls of coins, and then he'll go through and he'll show you from a distance, okay, now you have a whole line of coins. Now what's the contrast in color? Which ones are brighter than the other ones? How can you tell, hey, this one looks a little bit older, there's a patina on it, or that kind of stuff. All this stuff that you and I may not necessarily even think of with change. I just think of washing my hands when I touch change. But it helps you to not only to be more observant and to know what to look for. I feel like that is the battle. For most people, we're so used to change coming in and out of our hands. A lot of us work with cash registers, and it's usually just fast moving. And this makes you stop, take a second, look. And in some cases, it does make you think of the history behind it and all that cool stuff. I also like that you point out, too, when there's coins from maybe Canada or other countries. I like that you tell people what it is. And the same thing, you give a little bit of info about the composition, what was going on in their history at the time that coin was produced, and why it is a cool, interesting, important, coin in the history of that country. And I find that really interesting as well, because sometimes we only think of America. I know plenty of times in the past, I've gotten change back, and I'll have like a Canadian quarter, or something like that, and I'll be like, oh, what the hell is this? This isn't helpful. Why do I have this? Let me just throw it out or put it in the bin. I'll never look at it again. But when you watch the videos that he has up on YouTube on Dan Detects Treasure, you'll see that there is value to coins that are not from America. They're beautiful, and they are history, and they are treasure, even if they're not, with the In God We Trust America, what we're using every day. There is value to that as well.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I like to go through that is I stick them aside. Like, I am not a foreign coin collector. That's a whole nother branch of the hobby itself. I just think it's cool that I was recently hunting a box of pennies, and I end up with a penny. I was hunting a box of dimes, and I ended up with a penny from Tobago and from Fiji. In my mind, thinking, all right, their 1 cent is the same size as their dime, but how did that end up there? And I picture a whole story in my head. I don't know a lot about it, but I think it's cool just to look at it. And I like to be able to identify things from sight, because I feel like later on it's always going to help. But coin collecting, I don't expect everybody who listens to this want to go coin collect, but it's just one avenue of something I do. And I think if you're ever interested in it, it's just a good investment in the future. One of the things that I harp on with everybody I meet, even if you're going to be a coin collector, you're not going to be a coin collector, is your money that you're using to pay for stuff is valueless. It's called fiat currency, meaning it's not phony currency, but it's as long as nothing bad happens to the American government, your money's worth something. But at the end of the day, it's a promise. Now, originally, we were backed by the gold standard, and you alluded to this before. But when the Great Depression happened, the United States government needed to get gold to bolster the economy. So they actually outlawed the private ownership of gold. And you would go to jail or be fined if you had any type of gold in your house that wasn't jewelry and wasn't a form of just basically a golden thing. If it was bullion, which is a word for like a gold bar, gold coin, or they had golden coins that the U.S. government they still make gold coins now, don't get me wrong, but back then they actually had $20 and $10 pieces that were gold. They were made out of gold. They were actually against the law to actually hold on to American currency. Whoa. So they outlawed it, and that's where a lot of the gold that you see at Fort Knox came from. That was private American gold that was forcefully taken away from Americans. So one of the things that I harp on is, yes, you don't have to be a coin collector, but just diversify what you're holding on to. We all like video games, technology, electronics, different things. I don't want to say it's stupid, but it's everything. Everybody has something that they're going to spend money on that's kind of a waste. I just suggest to people that if you're going to spend some money, pick up a bar of silver. Try to buy an ounce of gold. Try try to just hold on to that, because the money that you're paying with, it's a promise, it's an IOU. And if unfortunately our economy collapses, which it's collapsing right now, unfortunately, it will bounce back down the road. But this money, you're going to see inflation go up. And when inflation goes up, you're going to see things be worth more money because the money is worth less. So if you've noticed a steady trend in milk, probably over the past like year to 2 years, milk has become more expensive, like $2 to $3 more. Eggs in the Northeast right now, I was buying eggs at $2.29 for a carton of eggs back in October. Now we're looking at $4.99 for a carton of eggs. That's a form of inflation. It's also a form of demand and supply, but it's a form of inflation. And you're going to see that inflation just keep going up because of all the spending the government did to try to bail out the economy when the COVID-19 virus happened. They're predicting triple-digit inflation numbers by next year. So what that means for you is, if you look at the only historical accurate measure for this would be Germany post-World War I, before World War II, it literally cost a wheelbarrow full of bills, Reichsmarks, to buy bread. Now, I don't think that's going to happen in America. I don't think a wheelbarrow full of dollar bills is going to buy a loaf of bread, but things are going to keep going up in price. You're already seeing the effects. Chicken's up. That's kind of due to demand and supply, but also due to inflation. But it's going to continue on that trend where things that were $5 are going to be worth $10, and you're going to be spending more money. One way to save yourself from having those harsh effects affect your paycheck, because you got to think, is we've had a lot of wage stagnation. So you're going to be making the same amount of money, but you're going to be spending twice the amount to buy the goods you need to survive. So one of the ways to protect yourself is, as precious metals go up, is you buy some of it now. So when things are really bad and inflation is high, you can turn in that precious metal and make more money on it, and then use that money to buy the goods you need or trade for them. Because at that point, if things are bad enough, people will take silver trade. People right now don't, oh, I didn't know silver was this. A lot of business people do. In case in point, I'm a coin collector, and I stack silver. I could not find any silver on the market at all. Reason being, Bank of America and People's Bank decided to hedge their bet. They realized that the credit market in the United States is very, very, very bad right now, because people can't even work to pay their bills. How are they going to pay their credit? So they moved out of the credit base and they started to buy precious metals. The reason being is they can back up their investment with a thing that has tangible wealth and that's going to grow over time. So they bought up all the silver and gold. For at least 3 weeks, I could not buy any silver on the market. That's how I know people are paying attention to this, and that's why I recommend it to people. Hey, if you have an opportunity, if you have $20 right now, buys an ounce of gold. Spend that $20. That's 5 trips to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts right now. Spend that $20 and buy an ounce of gold. Because down the line, if that's worth $50, you just made $30, and that's $50 in your pocket when you sell it. That could be the difference between you starving because your money's worthless and you're working for the same amount of money and not being able to afford what you need, and feeding your family. So it's not a doomsday type of thing. It's just saying, hey, this is a tangible investment. It's just like playing the stock market, but safer. Because with the stock market, a company can go up tomorrow. Unless someone breaks into your house, you're going to have your bar of silver. The value is going to go up and down, but it's still silver. It's still gold. It's a precious metal. And that's something that you have to look at through the course of time, all the way back to, the early kingdoms. Gold was still gold. People still value and traded gold for whatever reason they did back then. It was still valuable, and it's still going to be valuable in 1,000 years when the countries we know no longer exist. And that's the thing you have to look at, is where are you spending your money and what you're keeping an eye on and what value you're putting on your current currency. Because it's not always going to be the same. It's going to go up and down. The inflation amount is going to go up and down. These things are more of just I call them an anchor in our life. I talk to my wife about it. I say, hey, listen, instead of spending $20 on this or going and buying snacks all the time or doing this, hey, I'm going to buy some silver. And I take that money that I would have spent on nonsense. Oh, hey, I really want to buy this DVD or something that just is stupid, honestly, and go, hey, I'm going to spend it on this, or I let it accumulate and then buy more of it. And that's just a practice I've taken because it's a tangible investment. It's something that's going to go up in value and I can hang on to. And no matter what, I'm going to own it. You keep it in a safe, even if you don't need it now, even if you never need it in your lifetime. I can assure you at some point in someone's life, they're going to need it. Precious metals are just like that. When World War I was over and these people were starving and couldn't pay for things because inflation was crazy, the people that were successful were the people that had gold and silver, and they started to barter with the gold and silver. Hey, I'll trade you 1 ounce of silver for this amount of food. And they survived on much less and didn't have to worry. So that's just a point of advice that I always touch on, is knowing the value of current money, knowing that it is right now just a piece of paper. There is no backing to it other than burning it. That's the only thing it's going to do for you. If the money means nothing anymore, you could burn your money. That's going to keep you warm. Otherwise, it's not worth anything.
I think that you make a great point, because so many of us, money is our focus, money is our life, it makes the world go round, but none of us really understand the cycles of money, of exactly what you're talking about. None of us truly understand inflation. We don't know the history of it. I mean, how many of you guys out there knew that at some point in American history it was illegal to have gold? I mean, could you imagine that?
They literally would go into, if your neighbor reported you, oh, they're hoarding gold, they would go into your house and arrest you and take you out.
Imagine, imagine your neighbor having incentive to rat you out for something. Sounds familiar, guys?
That's the crazy thing, and I'm a realist. Yes, it's valuable as a commodity and it's traded because silver is used to produce and gold is used for jewelry, and it's still worth and it's going to go up in money because it is a valuable thing. But I still live in a current American situation. So I'm not going to say, you know what, I don't want any money in my bank account and I'm only going to buy silver and gold, because I live here and I understand that. So I'm not like some people where all they do is buy silver and gold, because I realize I'm living in modern times, so my money's still worth something. So I keep a healthy balance in my bank account, a healthy balance in my savings, but that spare money that I would have bought something stupid with, like I'm saying, that goes for the precious metal. Because I want to hold on to the anchor in my life when it comes financially, which is the precious metal, but I also am living in a world where fiat currency rules, so I properly manage that as well. But that's just one facet, and that's one treasure. My channel is what I focus on is, yeah, that's something that I like to talk about. It's something that I'm harping on, is not letting the treasure that's actually valuable just escape through your fingertips. So check your change and buy these things now when you can, and don't even realize that you need it. Some other things that we do, the metal detecting you mentioned, it's really, really big. And I honestly think when I started metal detecting again, it was about 4 years ago. And when I started, people were making fun of me. They thought it was so nerdy. Oh my God, you're metal detecting. A lot of younger people are starting to do it. And I made a prediction a long time ago when Marvel and all the superhero movies got big, that nerdy stuff was going to become the popular thing. Metal detecting and the treasure hunting and the hiking and the adventuring, that is going to become the popular thing again. It's still kind of fringe culture, but we proved when you can't work and you can't go out to eat, you can't go to a movie, all you do is hike and you go outside. There's no bikes in the store right now. People bought every single bike. These are the things that are going to be the what people are interested in doing as like the coronavirus starts to spring up, because you don't have to be in a confined space. You could go metal detect a park with your kids and not worry about them getting sick. These are the things that are going to become cool down the line. And that's one of the reasons I started to incorporate it more and more, not only because I enjoy it, but into the channel, is that's what's going to become popular.
I see exactly what you're saying, because I remember a few years ago, you can see that there is a demand for these types of activities, with geo hunting becoming popular there.
Yep,
and even
geocaching.
everybody, look at how Pokemon, which, you know what, I don't understand right now,
Pokemon
while
Go.
everybody's home and nobody's outside, why has Pokemon not jumped on the damn ball right now? Isn't it crazy that all that time you saw every park, you saw families out there and everything. Now that families are home from work, they're there with their kids. You don't see them throwing on masks and going out there and catching Squiddleworth or whatever, all those those pokey people, But you can see that there's lots of people who are really down for this kind of fun, you know. So we're gonna be wrapping up here, but what I want to know is, if people are interested in getting involved and starting their hunting, their adventure, whether it be with metal detecting or with looking through rolls of coins, their pocket change, all that kind of stuff, what is the cheap and easy way that they can start this? Should they get a lamp? Do they need a magnifying glass? Like, what do you suggest, bare minimum, for the people who are struggling but are trying to incorporate this activity into their family dynamic and their family fun?
So I would say there's 3 hobbies that you could do right off the bat. The first one, we didn't really get to touch on too much, but like fossil hunting and rock hunting. That is an easy one because you don't have to buy anything.
Sounds so much fun.
Literally, all you have to do is go on Google, type in fossil hunting near me, rock hunting near me. Look up a park, a lot of state parks in the area. Our closest one for good fossils is in New Jersey, but for us, that's like an hour drive. It's very close to Connecticut. We can go there and you walk down a river outside in the stream. It's adventurous, don't get me wrong, but anybody can do it. It's like your kids aren't going to get wiped away in a river. It's like a stream in the Northeast. And you can reach down and pick up a fossil. At this park, you're limited to 5 per person. Make sure you're respectful. Make sure you're following the rules of the park, but get out there and see what's around you. If you're in North and South Carolina, emeralds, sapphires, rubies, really big. Arkansas, Diamond Crater State Park. That's a free park you can go to and literally pull diamonds. For instance, Hillary Clinton's engagement ring that they remade when Bill Clinton became president was a canary diamond. It's the largest yellow diamond found to date, and it was pulled out of Diamond Crater State Park at a free state park that a guy got for free. And he sold it for $350,000.
Whoa.
That came out of that park. Opals in Nevada and towards the west, obviously gold all throughout the U.S. These are all free rock hunting things, crystals, different forms of crystals. Whatever the rocks-wise, you can look up towards your area. That's just an instantly drive somewhere, take a little baggie, and pick stuff up off the ground with your kids. Awesome. Free, good to go. You need Google. Coin roll hunting. This, you do need a little bit of an account balance in the bank, but you can start at $25. $25 gets you a box of pennies. That's 2,500 pennies to look through. That, trust me, your first box is going to take you 4 to 8 hours. You make it fun with your kids. You might want to pick up a magnifying glass, and you do a little research about wheatback pennies, or Indian head pennies, or older pennies, or Arab pennies, and you just look through. That's an easy one. $25, you get it, the box. Go to your bank and say, hey, I need pennies. They have rolls of pennies there, so if they don't have the box, just get whatever denomination of pennies that you can afford right there. The pennies are easy because it's 1 cent at the end of the day. There's so many of them, and there's a lot to find. When you're hunting pennies, you can get wheatback pennies, probably at least 13 to 28 is the average find. So you're going to find things with the kids. They're going to be interested. You're going to find a penny that's 100 years old. Look, kids, this is 100 years old. This is around when World War II was going on. This is World War I. This is even older. That is an easy way to get into it and spark their interest, but it's just a cool hobby to learn about. And then the metal detecting, you are going to have to buy a metal detector. On Amazon, a good beginner metal detector is anywhere between $40 and $80. I don't recommend any specific one when you're just starting out because honestly, you have to get out there and dig a hole. Without doing that, you're never going to understand the hobby. One of the best ways, if you know somebody that does it, ask them to take you. But just buy a cheapo metal detector. Go out to a park where you know a lot of people hang out and dig some holes. You're going to find modern clad chains. You're going to find different things, maybe jewelry, and that's how you get going in the hobby. Eventually save up and you buy a better metal detector, but that's an easy one. The kids' metal detectors are even cheaper. They're like $20. They say yay or nay for whatever's in the ground, and they could just dig it up. So those are 3 easy hobbies to get into. If you're lucky enough to live near a beach, metal detect the beach, walk along the beach, see what you find. If you live near a lake or a pond, walk along the edge of the lake or a pond where it's popular. These are all things you can do.
You know what's interesting is I went to the dollar store today, and exactly what Dan's saying. You need limited stuff. I was in the dollar store. They've got gardening gloves. They got small little shovels there. They've got the sifting pans that are all different cool colors for the kids. Make a day out of it. Go do it inexpensive. And you can get a lot of the stuff that you need, like Dan's saying, right there on Amazon, locally.
Literally, you can do anything you want to do. Like, this world is so vast, and there's so many things to do. I have been interested in so many things in my life, and this virus has taught me to just do it. I've always wanted to pan for gold. I never thought there was any gold in Connecticut. I looked it up. There's gold in Connecticut. I've been panning 4 times now, and I have a gram of gold right out of the ground. I made $80 doing a hobby that I committed probably 8 hours to, $10 an hour. Literally, my hobby's paying me to do it. And I took a chance on something I've always wanted to do. Am I going to stick with it? Probably. Do I have to? No, but I tried it. There's so many things to do in this great country, in this great world, that you can just look up. Hey, is this near me? Hey, what's the closest to this? Hey, I always wanted to rock climb. Hey, I always wanted to learn how to scuba dive. All these things are right at the tips of your fingers. Just do it. Take a chance. Life's about taking chances because you're never going to be able to bring everything with you. If you're passionate about something, there's a million other people that are passionate about it too. Because passion is contagious. It doesn't take finding King Tut's tomb to get people excited. Pulling out a coin that's 100 years old from the ground, that's exciting. Finding someone's trash from 200 years ago, that's exciting to us. That history, that sparks something. Because you automatically think of yourself in that context. Who was alive back then? What was my family doing? Where was I? Like, all these different things, they all add up. And it's honestly, we live in a time where we have access to so much technology. That's our greatest asset right now. This proves it by being crammed up in your home. You've been playing on your phone all day. We all know it. You've been playing on your computer all day. You're learning so much, so minutely, you don't understand it. Even just playing games, you're learning. So why not take that and angle it at something that, hey, you can have some fun with your family while you do it, or even just yourself. Learn more about history or where you live, and then possibly find something that changes your financial situation.
You know, I think that is a great thing to leave off on. You guys, you get together, get your families together, go out there, find some passion, and really start to make the best of it. Get out. The weather's great now, and get your treasure. Why don't you start with watching some videos of Dan Detects Treasure on YouTube. Go to his website, Dan Detects Treasure. He also has some merchandise over there. You get some cute swag going, so when you're out there metal detecting, you can wear it proud, and hopefully get some other friends and families to get out there, and hopefully we'll grow this community in all across the country. So I really want to thank you, Dan, for coming in today.
Well, thank you for having me. Happy birthday again. Check us out on Instagram as well, Dan Detects Treasure. But thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. I think this is going to be a great adventure for you, being able to start your own podcast. And happy birthday.
Thank you, guys, and I will see you guys next time. I am so grateful that you guys decided to join us on the Power of All. We'll see you next time, and have a good one.